Marcus's phone has one folder he never opens. Not the game he's embarrassed about, not the dating app, the bank. Watch his thumb. It hovers, circles, and lands on the weather instead. 60 degrees. Great. Crisis averted. When he finally does look, there's a whole ritual. Deep breath. Phone at arm's length. One eye closed, as if the number can't see him if he can't fully see it. Marcus can tell you his follower count, his screen time, the battery percentage of his headphones. His bank balance? Roughly. Fine. He hasn't looked in 11 days. Penny here. Tonight, the real reason you look away from your own money, what looking away actually costs, and a fix that works while you're asleep. No bravery required. There's a famous name for this, the ostrich effect. When the news might be bad, humans bury their heads. Investors supposedly stop checking the moment markets fall. Neat story. Sounds like you. Sounds like everyone. And there's real data under it. One giant American fund company watched millions of logins. The day after the market drops, about 1/10 of the looks just don't happen. People quietly look away. But zoom in on individual accounts and the neat story wobbles. Just over half of people look away after bad days. Nearly as many do the exact opposite. A British study of investors found mostly the opposite pattern. Heads up when there's danger. And I promise this is real, named it the meerkat effect. So no, you're not simply an ostrich. Something more specific is going on. The best evidence isn't about stock markets at all. It comes from Iceland, where for years almost everyone's accounts ran through one money app. Researchers could watch an entire country decide when to peak. Here's what they saw. On payday, people were about 60% more likely to open the app, and nearly twice as likely to open it twice. Nobody plans that. It just happens. And when an account slid into the red, attention dried up. The moment it climbed back into the black, attention snapped back, like the app suddenly got interesting again. So here's the uncomfortable, useful truth. You don't have a checking habit. You have a good news habit. Everyone does. Looking at money you have feels like a tiny payday. Looking at money you don't feels like a tiny bill. British stockbroker data shows the same itch from the other side. The day someone's newest stock is up, they can't help logging in. Just to look at it, checking isn't research. Checking is a treat, which means the hovering thumb isn't weakness. It's a forecast. Your finger already knows what the number probably says. That's why it's circling the weather app. How many people live like this? Honestly, nobody official counts it. Bank surveys put it somewhere between 1 in 5 and 2 in 5 adults. Loose numbers. Real thing. The generation gap is a cliff. In one UK survey, over 4 in 10 Gen Z said they avoid looking at their balance. Boomers, 1 in 20. Same banks, same math, different nerves. And before anyone calls this a broke people problem, in the US data, even among six-figure households, nearly half say thinking about money makes them anxious. More money turns the volume down. It does not turn it off. So if you've been treating the one-eye squint as proof you're bad with money, it isn't. It's proof you have a normal human attention system pointed at a stressful number. Now, what about the other half of you? The part that just wants to rip the Band-Aid off. To understand why we do that, look at a study where scientists gave people a choice about a small electric shock. Wait for it, or take it now. Most chose now. Some chose a stronger shock, just to stop the waiting. Tiny study, 32 people, and the waits were seconds, not weeks. But you know exactly the feeling it's pointing at. Dread has a price. Some of us pay extra to end it. So there are two animals in your head. The ostrich says, not today. The Band-Aid ripper says, just look. The wondering is worse. And every single day, they fight over one app icon. Who wins matters less than you'd think. What matters is what the fight costs while nobody's looking. So let's count it. In the US data, overdraft fees don't spread out evenly. Roughly 9% of checking accounts pay almost 80% of the fees, and it is almost always the accounts with the least money in them. That data is over a decade old. It is still the number regulators cite. For the people stuck in that 9%, the typical bill runs about $380 a year. Not for borrowing money, for not seeing a number in time. Then there's the quiet leak. An American survey asked people to guess their monthly subscriptions. They said about $86. Walk through their own list category by category. $219. Both numbers are guesses. That's the point. The spending is invisible even to its owner. None of this requires you to be reckless. It only requires you to not look. Inattention has a price list. And remember the Band-Aid study. The waiting was the expensive part. The balance is just a number. The dread is a subscription. So, 3 moves. None of them is be braver. All of them are cheaper than the squint. 1. Stop going to get the news. Make the news come to you. When UK regulators automatically sign people up for low balance alerts, surprise overdraft charges dropped by about a quarter. The money involved is small. Think a coffee a month. But it's a coffee every month, forever, for zero effort. And an alert flips the whole game. You stop opening the app to discover the news. If the phone is quiet, the news is good. The look you've been dreading only happens when it's actually needed. 2. Shrink the cost of looking away. If overdraft fees are what you're actually afraid of, you can just call your bank and tell them to decline the card instead. A declined card costs a 5-second blush at the register. An overdraft costs actual money. You saw the yearly bill. 3. Schedule the look for when the news is good. Iceland says you already peak on payday, so make it official. 2 minutes, payday morning, coffee in hand. Build the habit on the easy days, and it'll hold you through the hard ones. And if the number genuinely can't change this week, then skipping the look isn't denial. It's budgeting your attention. The goal was never looking more. The goal is making looking cheap. One honest note, alerts fix fees. Nobody has properly measured whether looking more makes the anxiety smaller. What is measured? The surprises get smaller. And a smaller surprise is a smaller flinch. Marcus, 1 month later. 2 alerts, 1 payday appointment. The bank app is still in the folder. He never fixed himself. The number just stopped ambushing him. Last week his phone buzzed once. Balance lower than usual. He looked. Both eyes. Moved $30 over. Done. No ritual. No deep breath. It was just information. Because that's all a balance ever was. Not a grade. Not a verdict on you. A gauge. And you don't argue with a gauge. You just wire it to ring before the tank runs dry. The ostrich was never the whole story. Neither was the meerkat. You're a person whose attention likes good news. Same as an entire country of Icelanders. Same as everyone you know. So keep the folder if you want. Keep the squint, even. Just don't let a number you refuse to read keep charging you for the privilege. If tonight explained a ritual you thought was only yours, subscribe. Next time, another script nobody told you that you were running.